I don't think it's going to take that long. Let me know when the screen is sharing. It's sharing. All right, let's play this intro, get into this thing. Let's see. So those who are not familiar with this series, this is a DCD series, Destroying Christian Dogma. And the audio clips you heard were two different men. One man was a man of the Christian faith. He was saying, what are we going to do with that verse right there? That's clear scripture. That's clear scripture. And then the other voice you heard was a brother of the Shemitic Hebrew Israelite faith. And he was saying the Bible. And both of these men, in my summation, they're taunting the Bible. They're praising the Bible like if it's in the Bible, it's gold. If it's written inside the Bible, it's gold. And what this image, for those on Facebook who may see this at a later date, is that me or who's that?
You're just saying that you're live streaming. It should go away. I hit okay. Well, you might also have to hit okay.
Okay. So for those not familiar with this study, the image on your screen is the image of a Frankenstein monster being put together. And that's a ode or a shout out to the old Frankenstein show where the mad scientists created a monster out of many different parts, trash cans, he had arms. And that's what we're trying to convey, that the current Bible we have, specifically the KJV, that's mostly what I deal with. I don't really deal with the other translations. And the other translations really don't matter once you realize the foundation of all the translations. And that's what the Most High has put on my heart. That's what He burdened me with. We're going back to the root of all the Bibles. So whether you use a KJV, a MSG, a new KJV, an Amplified Bible, it doesn't matter which one of these new versions you have. If the core, if the crux of it is tainted, the whole Bible is going to be off a little bit. Now, we're not being radical saying throw away the Bible, and like the other ones said, the Bible is a white man's book, and that's why I don't believe it. We're not saying none of that garbage. What the Most High has put on my heart and revealed to me is, if you don't understand the language of the ancients, and I'm going back to Adam, Noah, Enoch, even the Moses generation, if you don't understand those glyphs they use, the pictures, the pictographs, some people may say paleo. If you don't understand what those characters mean, it don't matter if you know the Yiddish Hebrew. So for lack of a better word, that's not Hebrew to me, but if you learned that Yiddish dialect, you're going to be off of your understanding. If you go ahead to school, like some of the some of the seminary trained people, if you go to school and learn Greek, that's beautiful for Greek people, but the men who wrote these scriptures were not Greek people. There's a book, I downloaded it and I share with you in a few, but you guys can Google it. This doctor wrote a book saying, and I forgot the exact title, but it's pretty much, he's comparing Greek thought with Hebrew thought, Hebraic thought. And you can't do that. It's comparing our Hebrew to Greek is apples and oranges. They don't have a word to match everything we have. So even our ancestors who were true Israelites, Black Israelites, when they made that first, well, they didn't make the first Greek copy. There's been Greek fragments going around Egypt for years, but that generation was so far removed from Jerusalem, they didn't speak Hebrew no more. So when elders who spoke Hebrew read and who could speak Greek also, when they read those first Greek fragments they had, they was like, this is horrible. So the ancestors who were sent from Jerusalem to make a better Greek translation, they confessed that things of the Hebrew written or expressed in other languages do not have the same effect as the native tongue. And you can find that to the prologue of Sirach. So the elders said this, like, listen, forgive us when we fall short, brothers. We're doing the best we can to write our holy covenant in this Greek tongue, but we're gonna have to find words. We're gonna have to find the closest word in Greek to express the Hebrew thought. And if you keep doing that over all the scrolls, you're gonna be off eventually. So, it's like that, to give you an image in your mind, it's like the cardiograph for hearts. Beep, 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 beep. So as the heart is in rhythm, it's going up and down. And then when it starts beating too fast, it shoots up. That's how it is if you're saying the Greek can't match the Hebrew. So I grab this word for apple, and in the Greek is this, but in the Hebrew is this, but I'm going to use it because this is all the Greek got. So now it's a little off. Then you start talking about things of the heavenly realm, where Greek don't even have a word for heaven. So I got to make it even more plain and bring it home to our generation. In our recent time, the word computer is a new word. The word computer just became like a everyday word in this, like in the 70s, it was like, if you was poor, you'd be like, what's a computer? Yeah. Then in the 80s, it was becoming more prevalent, but only those rich people had a computer. Now in the 90s, everyone knew what a computer was, but the languages of the earth had to come up with a word, because that word computer is not an ancient word. I'll give you another example. Internet. Internet is a fairly new word. That means all the languages, Chinese, Greek, Japanese, they had to come up with a word to express internet. That's what you have to do when you're translating from Greek to Hebrew. And if you keep that up, your foundation is going to be off. And it may get you close, but right now we're finding close ain't good enough. So that's what we're trying to express this image. I want to pick back up. Can you read the warning for the Mashapop for the family?
Con. Warning, DCD is an advanced study of the Bible. Neophytes, novices, and or those not weaned from milk should not partake in this series. If at any time you begin to doubt the Most High or the existence of his only begotten Son, please exit this series immediately.
Everything is not for everybody. We live in a time where everyone with a dumb phone and a Wi-Fi connection want to be a teacher. And you find many times they're just parroting what they done seen on someone else's platform. Haven't verified nothing the person offered. It just tickled your ear because you have an itching ear. Like Paul says, these people learn to always hear something new, learn something new. So everyone with a dumb phone and a Wi-Fi connection want to be a teacher now. So if this is not for you, please exit. Don't be in a rush to skip grades. Gradually walk your walk. Walk your own walk. All right. This is VCD New Testament edition, and this is the extended version. Is Jesus God? And I've backslid, and I've been listening to these channels again, and not that I'm sure, I'm glad the Most High blessed me with the spirit of humility. And the spirit of humility and meekness comes with detriments. It comes with adverse effects. And Moses showed it to you. Moses was meek, didn't want to lead, didn't want to tell you what to do. And you see how people turned on him. Is God just speaking through Moses? And so being a meek man comes with adverse effects, but I'm going to continue to be meek and humble and listen to everyone's point of view. Because if I'm wrong, if I have processed something wrong, I'm not going to be ashamed to tell y'all, hey, I processed that wrong. Or some new information has been revealed, and seems to be more the truth. Like we're going to do today at the end of this class. I'm not ashamed to say I was wrong, and because this is not my work, this is not my writings. So I'm going to constantly be meek and humble, but this Jesus is the Most High God. For all of you who don't know, the doctrine that we are trying to correct and help people see, the Christians and some of the Israelite people now, they're teaching that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, he's also God. He's also the Most High God. And now, because of my training, it sounds totally crazy to me. But we always got to remain humble and remember we was there too. So many of these brothers want to hold debates, and I don't debate, family. It goes online and listen. I don't debate because a debate is you've already fixed your mind to win at all costs. You've already fixed your mind to show up that person. You haven't come with the spirit of, let me hear him out, because if he's correct, I'm going to change my position. No debate I heard ever end like that. It's always, that's your point, that's how you see it, that's your interpretation. I've yet to see a debate with one of the brothers like, wow, man, you laid out your point perfectly. Man, I was totally wrong. Thank you, God, for sending you my way. That has never happened yet. It's always, I'm going to debate, I'm going to chop his head off, or the Christian side. Let me show these dumb Israelites how they can't read the Bible because they don't understand hermeneutical methods. They don't know how to eisegete. They don't know how to exegete. That's why they need to go to seminary. So you got the Hebrew Israelite coming with the spirit of chopping someone's heads off, and you got the Christian man coming with these dumb Israelites can't read. So neither party is coming with the spirit of love. Let me help my brother. Let me win my brother with love. It's always a competition, and I'm not about that. Messiah told us if they don't accept this truth, then you shake the dust off. So that's what I choose to do. I choose to use the word of the Most High, present my witnesses, and you do with what you will. I'm not going to try to convince you, beat my head against a brick wall, trying to show you that this is right. Most High will be done. So that's what we're about to get into, exposing that Jesus Christ, who the church called Jesus Christ, he is not the Most High God. He is not the Most High God, and none of the elders taught this. None of the elders taught this. So let's get a quick review. I think I'm going to slide 40. I made a mental note. I think it's 42. I'm going to start at. I wrote the wrong one. It's locked here, y'all. The wrong one is loaded. Let me get the right one. I got a newer version that I just loaded. Oh, here we go. All right. The screen still sharing?
You know, yeah, it's redo it.
Still sharing. I think it may be time to clean this computer up too.
There you go.
All right, so we're just going to review the highlights in scripture. We're called by the Most High Yah to verify everything by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. You guys probably are tired of hearing my voice, tired of hearing me say, we don't have the luxury to teach what we want to teach. And you being a student in them seats, you don't have the luxury to believe what you want to believe. If the Messiah comes back and you get caught in false doctrine, you're going to be held accountable. Did you have 2 or 3 witnesses? Because I told you, Slakia, the Father told us in his word that everything must be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. The Son himself uses that same law when he's speaking. Bring 2 or 3 witnesses to establish a matter. Apostle Paul, who is the champion of the Christian church, he repeats that same law in one of his letters. This is the second time I have come to you. As it is written, let everything be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. So you as a student, you have to have 2 or 3 witnesses to adopt something as the truth. And what I'm hearing, a lot of brothers, Christians and Israelites, they are now going and trying to get 2 witnesses, 3 witnesses. And that's step 1. But the witnesses they're using, the witnesses are not saying it, they're breaking it down, telling you that that witness is saying that. That's not having 2 or 3 witnesses. A witness is, Messiah says, I am come for the lost sheep of Israel. So when I tell you that, hey, you know the Messiah came for Israel, but no, he came for the world. You have to show me a verse where he says, I come from the world. I can show you, he said, I only come from Israel. Then I can show you John 17:9, where he says, I pray not for the world. So for a Christian, I just gave you 2 witnesses that Messiah didn't come for the world. We want you to show us witnesses that say what you're saying. You can't tell me you're giving me 2 witnesses, but you have to break down what that verse means, and that's your witness. Yeah. That's not a witness. That's you interpret or manipulate the text to be your witness. That's not a witness. In a court of law, no jury is going to believe that witness. He didn't say that. That's what you interpret him to say. Or Marat said he ate chocolate. Did I say I hate chocolate, or you only see me eating vanilla? Just because you always see me eating vanilla don't mean I hate chocolate. I just, for some reason, I've been on a vanilla kick. That's what the Christians and some of these Israelites are doing. They're pulling verses as their witnesses, but the verse is not saying what they're saying. They're trying to tell you the verse is saying what they're saying. That's not a witness. So let's pull one of the strongest witnesses. Let's go to John 20:17. This is just to bring people up to speed. For those inside the Facebook, those who are going to hear this later, our stance and position is the man that the church called Jesus Christ, he is not the Most High God. We call him Yahweh, which means Yah is salvation or Yah saves. We believe Yahweh is the son of Yah. He is the Lamb of Yah. He is not Yah. We believe he didn't put on, we believe and teach the Most High Yah did not put on flesh and become a man. We believe the Most High Yah sent his son to put on flesh. And his son experienced what it was like to be a man, but the Most High Yah himself has never put on flesh. And we're going to prove it with witnesses. John 20:17. Shema, if you have it.
Shema.
John 20:17. Read.
And Jesus said unto her, touch me not, for I am not yet ascended to my Father, but go to my brethren and say unto them, I ascend unto my Father and your Father, and to my God and your God.
So in our cultural context, this verse would read something like Messiah says Mashiach or HaMashiach. We would say HaMashiach, the Messiah says, touch me not, for I am not yet ascended to my Abba, but go tell my Akyam, go tell my brothers. If he's calling us his brothers, can he be our God too? If he's calling us his brothers, can he be our father? Does that make sense? Are we breaking this down? Are we twisting this? Do we need anyone to put oil on our head? Do we need the organ player? This is plain reading of the text. He tells them, I go to my Abba, and now Mary, I want you to go tell my brothers and let them know I'm ascending to my Abba, which is your Abba. And then he says, my power, which is your power. This is just review. We're trying to do a quick review for those who may have not been around or had a chance to watch the other classes. We're giving you black and white concrete witnesses. Messiah himself is saying that he has a father, he has a power. No time does he use that Greek seminary talk that I am homoouso, I am of the same essence of my father. Now time that he's telling you, I'm the father in the flesh. We need the text to say what these seminary people are saying. We need the text to say what you're saying. The text is not saying what you're saying. So that's just one witness. That was John 20:17. The next one is Paul himself. So we call him Shawal. Shawal is Paul in the pagan tongue. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 15:24. 1 Corinthians 15:24. And we're going to break this down slowly so everyone can understand this. You don't need a degree from seminary to understand these writings. You just need to repent for your sins and have a humble heart. Too many brothers getting puffed up in this thing. The hardest thing to do is to check yourself. You always got to check yourself. Remain humble. No matter how much disrespect you have to put up with, remain humble, and yet let Yah reward the people who come with disrespect. That's what I choose to do. 1 Corinthians 15:24. Shema.
Shema.
Read.
Then cometh the end.
Then comes the end.
When he shall have delivered up the kingdom of God.
So let's replace these pronouns with the actual subject they're referring to. Then comes the very end. That's the problem with the fake Slovakia. That's the problem with the non-Messianic Israelis and some of these Israelites who are New Testament only. They reject this figure that we call Yahushua as being the Messiah because he didn't do everything the prophets spoke of. But he hadn't made it to the end. Somebody says, then comes the end.
Then comes the end.
Then comes the end. So you think in your finite mind, you know more than the great I am, and he can't be the Messiah because the prophet said he was supposed to do this, supposed to do that. Did the Most High tell the prophets when he was going to do these things? He didn't give you a timeline. He just said, my son, or the one I sent. So now you're rejecting your meal ticket because everything wasn't done when you wanted. What's that song we used to sing? He may not come when you want him, but it comes right on time. So here's Paul saying, then comes the end. This end here, family, I'm trying to get excited. People get it. This end is the end. This is the very end. Then comes the end when Messiah should have delivered up the kingdom to who?
The Father.
Messiah is going to deliver the kingdom up to Abba. If Messiah is Abba, why is he delivering the kingdom up to Abba? Am I making sense? This is Paul the champion. Paul's not saying he's homoouso. Paul's not saying he's one and triune. Paul is not giving us any Trinity doctrine. Paul is saying Then the end comes, Messiah is going to deliver the kingdom up to Abba. Read on.
When he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power.
So Messiah is going to deliver up the kingdom to the Father when Messiah shall have put down all rule and all authority and power. All right. Verse 27.
For he, Christ, right, must reign. Yeah.
This 27. Did I skip one?
Oh, you said, so I'm doing 25. Oh, for 27. For he have put all things under his feet.
So let's replace those pronouns. For he is Abba. For Abba have put all things under Messiah's feet. Does that make sense? Am I adding to the text?
Nope.
I'm putting the text in correct context. So if we take those pagan pronouns out, that first him or he is Abba. For Abba has put all things under Messiah's feet. Read on.
But when he saith things are put under him.
But for all my smarty already college folks in here, what is but again? What is but? Y'all got y'all dip a little. Y'all try to dip a little much deep.
Oh, that was a long time.
What is but? What is but?
Is it a preposition?
A but is not a conjunction, but it's like it's not a preposition, but it's interjecting another thought.
Right.
It's you interject another thought.
What they teaching us?
I've been out of school a long time. So this is but. So my wife has the perfect. My wife has the perfect phrase. She learned from one of her coaches.
And
When you use but negates everything you just said in front of it. I love you, but. Well, that but is but. I ain't gonna hear nothing else. You said I love you, but I ain't about to hear nothing else. Once you say but, I'm like, you don't brush your teeth on time. You don't wash your clothes right. So that love has been erased by but. That makes sense? So but negates everything in front. So
they say it's a conjunction.
it's a conjunction.
That's what they say.
That's their parts of speech, whatever. But it's even that is not a true definition because a conjunction is adding something together. He's about to contrast something. So to add something together, you would say and. That means you're adding two thoughts. When you say but, you're about to compare or contrast two different thoughts. So 1 Corinthians 15:27, Paul is saying, for Abba has put all things under Messiah's feet, but everything next is about to contradict the previous statement. Read on, Abba.
But when he saith all things are put under him, it is manifest that he is accepted.
So let's put this in cultural context. But when Abba says all things are under Messiah, it is obvious that Abba is the exception. Does that make sense?
Does make sense.
Am I adding to this? Am I adding to Holy Scripture? Am I twisting Holy Scripture?
No, because the comma, it says, which did put all things under him. So it's saying that the exception is the one who put the things under Messiah's feet.
So if Abba is the exception, Messiah is over everything that Most High gave him, but it's obvious Messiah, the Most High is not. If the Messiah, if the Messiah is over everything except Abba, how can he be co-equal to Abba? Where you give me this Trinity or this oneness or this triune, all this seminary doctrine is of Satan. The devil has done this to our people. Then Paul, your champion, is telling you when Abba put everything under Messiah's feet, it's obvious, it's manifest, it's clear. Abba himself is the exception. Am I stretching this? Read on, Abba.
28. And when all things shall be subdued unto him, then shall the Son also himself be subject unto the Father, him that put all things under him, Christ, that the Most High, the Father, may be all in all.
So again, let's put our cultural context back into this Greek, Latin, English, poorly translated text. 1 Corinthians 15:28, by the eyes of an Israelite or Shemitic person, it will read more closely. When all things shall be subdued unto Abba Yah, then shall the Son, Hamashiach, himself be subject unto Abba Yah, that put all things under Messiah, that Abba Yah may be all in all. This is Paul, the champion of the New Testament. He's not teaching oneness. He's not teaching triuneness. He's not using any of that Greek homoouso. He is the essence of the Father. If Paul is not using that language, where are you getting this language from? You're getting it from Gentiles. You're getting it from pagans who are far removed from the first century Israelites. I'm getting ahead of myself. Any comments or questions about those first two witnesses, John 20:17 or Matthew 15:24? Any questions? Anyone online? Slow me down. I don't want to rush through this. Slow me down if I have to. All right, let's get to the next witness. This is a strong witness, my Shapop family, because Revelation is the last record by a man who knew Messiah. And in my humble opinion, I'm not trying to convince you, I'm not trying to indoctrinate you. Everyone in here is grown. You have your own life to live. You have your own race to run. My opinion, somebody say opinion.
Opinion.
My opinion is Revelation is on par with the prophets. That's the only book of this so-called New Testament, the second half, that I put on par with the prophets. From Jude back to Matthew, those are epistles, diaries, journal entries. But Revelation is from the power of the Most High, because the Most High is speaking through Messiah. So this is a strong witness. If Messiah is equal to God Almighty, surely Revelation is going to have a record of this. Can you read Revelation 1, verse 1 for us, please?
Revelation 1, verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, or Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, which God, or Yahweh, gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass, and he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John.
So again, let's put this Revelation 1 and 1 into cultural context of an Israelite, a Shemitic person. This is the revelation, Kazawan. This is the vision, Kazawan, images. This is the revelation of Messiah. This is the visions, or this is the future forecast of Messiah that Abba gave to him. Abba gave this to Messiah to give, to show unto his servants. His servants is referring to Abba. Abba gave this revelation to his son to show my servants. Because again, keeping things in cultural context, if Messiah is the one who we're calling, who we're his servants, how did he call us his brothers a couple books ago? Everything in church has been twisted. We have been taught we serve Christ. I serve Christ. But Christ served the Father. So now you just eradicated the Father to serve his son? In what cultural context that makes sense? So when the verse says, this is the revelation of Hamashiach, which Abba gave to him to show unto his servants is referring to the Most High servants, which things must shortly come to pass, and he sent it by his messenger. The messenger here is Messiah. Am I making sense? The messenger, Malach, is Messiah. Messiah is the one giving this revelation to John. And John is also called a servant. John is called a servant. So to help my Christian family who I love, I'm not one of these Israelites trying to destroy Christians. I'm not trying to embarrass your pastor. I do my best to try to stay cordial. but we're in our flesh, and sometimes conversations get heated. I haven't had a conversation with a Christian in a long time. I pray when I do, the Most High be with us. But just for the sake of those on Facebook, I am not the one trying to argue with and embarrass Christian pastors. I'm just pleading for these Christian pastors to give us answers that we can read inside the Bible that you're carrying. Is that too much to ask for a man? Say you've been to seminary, you've been teaching 30 years, preaching 30 years. I'm asking you to show me what you're saying, Pastor, inside this book. I don't want you breaking it down and see hermeneutical this and exegete that. I want the verse to say Jesus Christ was God in the flesh. I want the verse to say this. We can't find any verses to say this. The second point I want to highlight here, the book of Revelation was written for the servants of God. Who are the servants of God? Well, y'all been indoctrinated by YouTube University. That's why y'all won't say Israelites. Let's get the text to prove what we're saying. TikTok now. TikTok University. The children of Israel are the servants of God. The book of Revelation is written for the children of Israel, like the rest of the books. And since we said it, let's show our Christian brothers and sisters how we produce witnesses to not embarrass you, so you can sit down with your father, pray and fast and pray and see if it's lining up. The Father will give you the confirmation if this is man-made doctrine, if this is super black to man talk. The Father will reveal these things to you. My stance here, the point we're about to make, the book of Revelation, like the rest of the Bible, is written to the servants of God. Christian dogma has taught us anybody who believes in Christ, that Christ is the Son of God, they're the servants of God. What we're about to prove with witnesses, the servants of God, the Most High God, is the children of Israel. And get this first one for us. And get Isaiah 43 and 10 for us. We're going to walk this down with witnesses. This ain't the Torah Group. This ain't a Bidas talk. This is the Most High giving his word. And we're going to read the Most High's word. That's all we're going to do. The servants of God is Israel. Isaiah 43 and 10. Shemai, you have it?
Shema. Isaiah chapter 43, verse 10. You are my witnesses, says Yahweh, and my servant whom I have chosen, that you may know and believe me, and understand that I am he. Before me there was no Elohim form, nor shall there be after me.
He says, you are my witnesses and you are my what?
My servant.
This is the Most High speaking through the prophet. This is not the Torah Group. This is not no captain talk. This ain't no camp talk. This is in the Bible, the Holy Bible you call it. This is being recorded by a holy prophet saying, ye are my witnesses and ye are my servants. Isaiah was sent to talk to the Israelites, not to the Christian church. That's just one witness. The next one, let's get Joshua 22 and 5. Joshua 22 and 5. They're producing witnesses that the servants of God is not the church, not the Baptist, not the Methodist. The servants of God is the children of Israel, Hebrews. Yes, we happen to be black, if you want to use that term. I just happen to be black. We got to use that. So if you need a descriptor, yeah, we're dark people. We come in every shade from mellow yellow to whatever is possible. We got mint, chocolate mint. We come in all kinds of shades. Even ancient Israel, everyone wasn't dark as me. That's just the nature of our genomes. Every one of us ain't looking dark as me, even in ancient Israel. David was described as ruddy. Ruddy means like y'all. If he was dark like me, they would have said Niger. Ruddy means he's a shade of red. That makes sense. Yeah. King David is not dark like me. Joshua 22 and 5. Shimon, read.
But take careful heed to do the commandment and the law which Moses, the servant of Yah, commanded you, To love Yah, your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, to keep his commandments, to hold fast to him, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul.
Hold on. You gotta read that again, man. I'm about to shout.
Be careful, but take careful heed to do the commandment and the law which Moses, the servant of Yah, commanded you.
Joshua is about to go to sleep with the fathers. Joshua is about to go to sleep with the fathers. And this generation, it never was a mysterious illness. It never was a surprise. This generation was so righteous, walking with Abba, even with their shortcomings. Abba would tell them, I'm getting ready to put you to sleep. Get the children of Israel in order. Call your sons to you and tell them, thus saith Yah. So Joshua is about to go to sleep, and he's reminded the children of Israel to keep the law that the Most High gave to Moses. Read that again, Ab.
But take careful heed to do the commandment and the law which Moses, the servant of Yah, commanded you. To love Yah, your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, to keep his commandments, to hold fast to him, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul.
So I'm not college educated. I'm a college dropout. According to the text Anthony just read, I want you all to take your time. Those online, help us. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. According to what he just read, in my comprehension, my reading comprehension, how do you serve the Most High Yah? Y'all process the same thing? So all this Christian dogma, all I gotta do is believe I'm serving Christ. It says to keep the law he gave to Moses, to walk in his statutes, to do what he told you to do, to serve, to love him. So if you want to serve the Father, you have to keep the commandments. Did y'all read that? Let's read it again,
Right, Joshua chapter 22, verse 5. But take careful heed to do the commandment and the law which Moses, the servant of Yah, commanded you, to love Yah, your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, to keep his commandments, to hold fast to him, and to serve him with all of your heart and with all of your soul.
To serve him. Servant Abba means you are a servant. Before that, he reminded them to keep the law. So if you're a servant, you have to keep the law. Who was the law given to? The children of Israel and the strangers that are attached to us. We ain't gonna forget them, but you are attached to us. Now the strangers being attached to us, we here now, gotta let it flow. You being attached to us as a stranger don't make you Israel, because if you transgress, nothing's gonna happen to the nation. But if I transgress, the nation is going into captivity. Am I talking to somebody? If the stranger attached to us, I'm gonna say this again for those in the back. If the strangers attached to us is keeping the same law, same covenant, if they transgress and don't want to repent, they get the luxury of leaving. You got to get away from us. But if you being a natural Israelite, if you transgress and don't repent, you're going to bring damnation on the nation. It's two different things. So if you want to be a servant of Yah, you have to keep the commandments. The commandments was given to the children of Israel and those who are attached to us, but the commandment was specifically for Israel. That's the second witness. The children of Israel are the servants, and we prove we're servants by keeping the law. Any comments, question about that? Am I stretching this thing? I'm open to correction. The next one, let's go to Psalms 34 and 22. Psalms 34 and 22. Young Joshua, get Amos 3 and 7 ready. Amos 3 and 7. We're going to Psalms 34 and 22. For those just joining, we're giving you witnesses from the Bible. We're giving you witnesses from the Bible that when Revelation 1 and 1 says to show this revelation to the servants of God are the children of Israel. And we're letting the Bible speak, not ourselves. Psalms 34, 22. Shema.
All right, the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 30. 22. See?
Count 22.
Yahweh redeems the soul of his
He
servants.
did what?
He redeems the soul of his servants.
Yahweh redeems the souls of who?
His servants.
Now, I'm not here by myself. Yahweh redeems the souls of who?
His servants.
His servants. Read on.
And none of those who trust in him shall be condemned.
None of those who trust in him should be condemned. King David wrote his song in Hebrew. He didn't write these songs in Greek or Latin. So if he redeems the souls of his servants, he's specifically speaking of the children of Israel. Now, all of you with a college degree, am I out of context? That's the number one thing they said about the Israelites. That's why these fools can't read. They read everything out of context. Everything that doesn't fit your Christian dogma is out of context. Everything is out of context when it don't fit your Christian dogma. The servants of Yah are the children of Israel. Are we saying others can't serve? No, that's not what I'm saying. You serve Yah by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. We have specific texts. He only gave his law to Israel. And now if you want to attach to us, we will teach you. But the law was given to Israel. Come on. Next witness we're going to go to get y'all out of here is Amos 3 and 7. Amos 3 and 7. Amos 3 and 7.
Amos 3 and 7. Surely the Adonai Yah will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets.
He reveals what?
His secret unto his servants.
Amos 3 and 7, and Amos is speaking for the Father. Amos is getting a word from Abba. So Abba is telling Amos that surely I will do nothing without revealing it to my servants. And my servants are the prophets. So an unlearned Christian will take this, see, the prophets are the servants, not y'all. That's why you have to keep the whole Bible, you have to keep the whole history of our nation in context. And Sister Olivia, oh, you got the baby. It's all right. Shamoya, take us back to the so-called New Testament. Because the Most High told Amos, I'm not going to do anything without revealing it to my servants, the prophets. Let's go to Acts 3 and 25 to show you who are the sons of the prophets. Acts 3 and 25. I get so excited when this word come out, man. Whew, I ain't had no coffee today. Well, I did at the house. Amos 3 and 25. Shema.
Shabbat.
Read.
Ye are the children of the prophets.
Say what?
Ye are the children of the prophets.
Ye are the children of the prophets. Is he talking to the church? Is he talking to the Baptists?
No, sir.
Is he talking to the Lutherans?
Absolutely.
Is he talking to the Pentecostals?
Nope.
He's talking to the children of Israel after the crucifixion, saying, ye are the children of the prophets. So if Amos 3 and 7 saying Abba is not going to do anything without revealing it to his prophets, the servant, and we are the sons of the prophet, Abba is not going to do anything on this earth without talking to you and I. That's why we have to fast and pray. That's why we have to take wickedness seriously. People, I'm not going to apologize for hating evil. I'm not going to apologize for hating undisciplined. We have to take this thing seriously because Abba's not going to move without talking to one of us. He's not going to bring destruction in our area without sending a warning by Op Anthony. And then Op Anthony is timid, not sure, because we're still learning, but then he comes and shares it, and someone else is bold enough to say, I had the same dream. And it's not that mystical, somebody in here needs a healing. Somebody in here has a back problem. There's 500 people in here. What are you talking about? It's not going to be that. It's going to be, I saw the same man with the same red shirt on in my vision. That's how the Most High, it's not no generic, man, I think we need to go somewhere in America. That's 50 states in America. Yeah, he gave me a word, we got to go out west. You think I'm following YouTube, but I got to really go out. No, Abba is very specific. Son, take Route 41, and you're going to see this house here. There's going to be a red car in the yard. That's the house you go to. This is how the Abba gives us visions. But according to the text, He only gives vision to his servants, the prophets, and Acts 3:25 says, we are the sons of the prophet. Am I making sense? Am I twisting this?
Sir.
We're giving you Bible verses proving that Revelation 1:1, the revelation given to Christ to give to the servants, it was for the children of Israel. We are these servants. The entire Bible is for the servants of God, and it's the children of Israel. Come? All right, let's get y'all out of here so we can go about your day. So, if that wasn't enough, that John records two different entities. He got a vision from Messiah, but Messiah got the vision from who? Revelation 1:1.
The Father.
Messiah gave the vision to John, but the Messiah got it from the Father. If him and the Father are the same, of the same essence, a homoouso, why didn't John record this? The Father gave me this vision in the form of his Son. John ain't recorded none of this Greek talk, none of this seminary talk. If that wasn't enough, man, I feel like I'm just on fire up here. Let's put our culture into the text. Let's put the Abarium culture. Abarium is a true label for us. If you guys didn't know, still learning, we're not really Hebrews. Hebrews is adulteration. If you told Moses you were a Hebrew, he would look at you like, what? Moses don't know anything about a Hebrew. Joshua knows nothing about a Hebrew. Messiah himself knows nothing about a Hebrew. If you say I'm Abarium, they will understand. You're saying you're from the lineage of Ibar. The text called turn his name into Eber. His name is not Eber. We're not Hebrews. We are Abarium. The Hebrew word for Messiah is Mashach. Mashach, Mashiach. Depending on your dialect, your speech pattern, it would sound like something like Mashiach or Messiah, right? Mashiach just means anointed or chosen. Anyone disagrees with that, have another definition or another understanding. Mashiach in the Hebrew just means anointed or chosen. It actually goes to a word, if I'm being more precise, is smearing. A smearing. So, because most times when you anoint someone, you smear the oil on them and you anoint them, may Abba be with you on your journeys. You've been anointed for this mission, right? Now, this is how I troubleshoot. And I know I'm not right and exact. I know I'm a Greek student. I know I have all kind of dross on me. So I don't want to indoctrinate anyone here. We are all brothers and sisters learning alike. I'm never going to shoot you down with your understanding. I'm just going to ask that you produce witnesses for your understanding. Mashiach is anointed or chosen for a task. And the Bible is referring to the Son being anointed for a task, correct? So my question is, who chose Yah to be our power and Father? Who chose Yah to be our power and Father? He chose us. Come on, Sister Olivia. That's a praise break right here. We should be shouting. No one chose him. No one anointed him to be our power. He chose us. Now you got to show me, Dr. Seminary, when did the Most High come to this earth? I need a text to say he came here. Because he told us in the text, I'm sending someone. So these are the things that's part of our culture that the Christian church can't understand. You've been learning a misguided, I'm just trying to be nice about being berating. You've been learning a false doctrine by strangers to Israel. They don't know the culture, they don't know the language. You're going to learn this form of air quotes Hebrew that Moses wouldn't understand nothing you're saying. You come with that Yiddish crap, like this is a vowel and this is a daiku and niku. Like we don't have this. What are you doing to the holy word of Yah? You start putting those marks over Abba's name, and the elders are gonna put hands. What you just do to Abba's name? You don't write his name like that. So the church and now some of the Israelites are learning a culture that's foreign to Israel. And the greatest culture foreign to Israel is a father and a son are the same people. Our culture, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. So when it comes to this doctrine that Jesus is Christ, we just ran through a couple scriptures in review that the scriptures don't say they're the same. Where are they getting this doctrine from? I've been scouring the church fathers' writings. It's been terrible. I mean, I'm reading pages and pages of this crap. And even within the church fathers, and these are, I have to clarify this, these are Catholics. These are not Nazarites. These are not Hebrews. They're not our fathers or our elders like Paul, James. These are foreigners who are in control of the Catholic Church. These men have these epistles out that Christians learn and read from, and they're following that doctrine. Well, I've been gathering these letters for some time now. And over the last few weeks, I've been scouring them, reading them, hurting my eyes, rubbing my eyes. And not even the church fathers of the first centuries have this doctrine that Christ was God in the flesh. This doctrine that Christ is God in the flesh doesn't appear until the 300s. This is 300 years after he's gone, you come up with this doctrine that God came in the flesh. So we got a few more slides. This is one resource. And anybody went to Oxford University? Show of hands. Any Oxford grads in here? Oxford. Oxford is over in England, right? That's where they're up in these schools. Oxford would crap on any school over here in America. Oxford look at Harvard as Harvard is a community college. That's how Oxford people carry themselves. So this is a resource from Oxford University. Can you read that for us, please?
Yes, the Nicene Creed, a formal statement of Christian belief, which is very widely used in Christian liturgy, based on that adopted at the First Council of Nicaea in 325.
When you talk to a learned, indoctrinated Christian, they're going to swear up and down that Christ being 3 in 1 or the Trinity is not from the Council of Nicaea. They're going to argue you down and start trying to belittle you with their education. You don't even know Bible history. That's why in seminary we learn Bible history 101. I don't have to go to seminary to learn Bible history. I should read Genesis. I can read Jubilees. They're going to swear up and down that the Trinity doesn't come from the Council of Nicaea. Can you give me any literature of a Trinity before 300? Because I've been scouring all Athanasius, Irenaeus. Listen, I'm very, very familiar with your church fathers. None of your church fathers is spitting this Trinity doctrine. This Trinity doctrine doesn't arrive to 325 and it's stamped. That's 300 years after Messiah, at least 200 years after the apostle. John Revelation is the last epistle that I accept from the elders, and John the Revelator died in like 100 AD, just to be fair. They're not really sure. John died between 95 and 100. So Revelation is the most recent book we have. And if I say, if we're going to go to 100 AD, the Trinity doesn't appear to 300. That's 200 years after the men who walked with him. The men who walked with him is not recording that we was with God in the flesh. The men who walked with him is saying the Son, the Son, the Son. We thank God for the Son. We thank God for the Messiah. They're not the men who walk with him are never making them the same people. You don't get this doctrine to about 300 years after. Can you finish that up?
The Nicene Creed from the World Encyclopedia, creed statement of Christian faith named after the First Council of Nicaea in AD 325. Its exact origin is uncertain.
Its exact origin is uncertain. What's the problem with that, family?
You don't know where it comes from.
You don't know where it comes from. Anybody else?
Witnesses.
Your father says, let everything be established by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. This Oxford resource is telling you they're not sure where this doctrine comes from. If they're not sure where the Trinity comes from, what are you doing practicing it? But all praise, like Daniel said, there's a power in heaven who gives us wisdom and understanding, who reveals things to his servants. And I'm going to tell you today where this comes from.
The Nicene Creed defends the Orthodox Christian doctrine of the Trinity.
Stop. Anybody remember what Orthodox means?
The conventional or the standard or the normal, like boxing, most people are
Orthodox.
right-handed, so that means that they fight Orthodox.
Who tells us what's the standards?
The Most High.
The Most High tells us. How you serving the Most High, but you're following a standard uncertain of his origins, and you're saying this is the standard. You're not sure of the origin of the Trinity, but it's the standard. Am I crazy? I read this stuff like I be laughing to myself. You just said a statement ago the origins is uncertain, but now it's the standard. And our Father says, let everything be established by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. How you're pushing this inside your church, and now some of the Israelites are pushing this inside their assemblies, and you're not even sure where it comes from. Because we just went through some of the apostles and Messiah himself. They speak nothing of this Trinity, or I'm my Father on earth. Worship me. The Son says, worship the Father. The Son says, this is how you pray. Our Father. Come on, y'all. Read on up.
So the Nicene Creed defends the Orthodox Christian doctrine of the Trinity against the Arian heresy.
This Arian character has nothing to do with us anyway. You're trying to defeat this Arian or this Arius. He's a pagan too, but he still was on to something. Remember, a broken clock is right twice a day. So even though Arian was a pagan, he was on to something. He wasn't wrong in this. Read on.
It is subscribed to by all Christian churches and is used in the celebrations of the Eucharist.
In the celebration of what?
The Eucharist.
And can you turn to the book, chapter, verse where the Eucharist is a feast day? He don't know the scriptures. Sister Olivia, you got it? You ain't been studying it? Sister Lena, you been spitting them bars. You can't tell me where the Eucharist is at. No one knows where the Eucharist is at. What?
First does not exist.
First book of what?
First book of non-existent.
So if you're talking about a Eucharist, who is the product of this mess?
Satan.
Satan, who's in control of what church?
The Catholic
The
Church.
Catholic Church. The Catholic Church. This Trinity mess has nothing to do with Israelites. It has nothing to do with Jerusalem. Messiah didn't give us any of this mess. This is another resource. Where my Stanford alumni at? Y'all got your sweatshirts on Stanford? Stanford? You look like Stanford. No one Stanford alum? This resource is from Stanford. I'm pointing this out because I'm making fun of this, not to make y'all feel bad. The Christians, these apologists and all antagonists, they want to paint us to be ignorant. We can't read and we can't process things. So I'm getting resources from the upper echelon of your pagan schools. Your pagan schools have nothing to do with Jerusalem, but since you respect their schools, I'm giving you the upper echelon of their schools. This ain't coming from a Moody Bible Institute. This is coming from Oxford and Stanford, Ivy League, prestigious old money schools, right? Let's read what this resource. The link is there on the screen if you want to verify this thing.
The introduction. This supplementary document discusses the history of Trinity theories.
What?
Theories.
We live by this. Ignorant, I ain't got no degree. What is a theory?
It's like a group think or like a thought, like a, I don't even know how to put it into like a context.
Anyone got any good phrase? A theory is an idea, a hypothesis. Like the earth is round, that's a theory. They ain't proved it yet.
It's like I think.
My thought is, a theory is a theory. So you're basing this Trinity, a Trinity is a theory. Y'all have not proved that the Son and the Father and this Holy Ghost are one. We have no scriptures to say it, but we can run off mad scriptures right now. I'm the Most High, there is none other. Shema Yasher Allah Yahweh. Deuteronomy 6:4. We can just spit verses that he's saying he's by himself.
That one that you just said, Deuteronomy 6, once I started to, learn about the Trinity not being true, in my mind, it's simple to me, but I feel like if the Trinity were to be true, that would have been the place where Yah would have revealed it to Israel. Like in Deuteronomy 6, when he said that, he would have said Yah is three.
The power of prayer.
Yeah, how they trace.
That would have been the perfect intro to introduce us to the God realm, right? When they say the Godhead, that would have been a perfect opportunity. And we're three up here. Worship us all together.
He's not gonna trick you. He's gonna explain it. Like if that was the case, we would have no problem. Okay, he told us it's me, my son, and then this female spirit, that's the Holy Mother, and he would have explained
It's complicated stuff. And people, my heart goes out to the innocent who are really trying to find something. And you get these people with all these sunshades on, or you got the super pious, got the blue and white prayer shawl on, got the smoke coming up. And it's like, and the young and innocent is like, wow, calm. It's like, man, this cocky baby, what are you talking about, calm? And my heart bleeds for these people. But our ears are itching. We always want to take your time, prove what these people are saying. Nowhere in our scripture is the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Nowhere is mentioned. Nowhere. We don't.
It says, although early Christian theologians speculated in many ways on the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit,
They prophesied.
they speculated.
What speculate means? They using big words, right? They use fancy words.
It's kind of like the same as like theory almost.
You ever heard of speculate for gold? They're searching. They're guessing. When you, or I guess they use prospecting. Prospecting and speculate are two. You're guessing. They're not even. You're basing your faith that there's a Trinity. 3 in 1. He came. Yeah, when he came to Earth, like on his way down from Earth, he became a man. That was God. We need text to say this, brother. We need text to say this. It's speculation. We don't have.
So the early Christian theologians speculated in many ways on the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. No one clearly and fully asserted the doctrine of the Trinity as explained at the top of the main entry until around the end of the so-called Arian controversy. Nonetheless, proponents of such theories always claim them to be, in some sense, founded on or at least illustrated by biblical texts.
So I'm giving all these witnesses because the Christian pastors and all these apologists, they're going to claim without any witnesses, the Trinity didn't come from Nicaea. The Trinity is not Catholic. Oxford and now Stanford are telling you that A, no one was never sure about this doctrine. B, it was around the Arian controversy. That's going back to the Council of Nicaea. That's what they wanted to answer. Is Arian right or wrong? What is going to be the standard for the Roman Catholic Church? Emperor Constantine want them to settle this dispute because the churches, I'm going too far now. The churches began to be the backbone of the Roman Empire. And many of the soldiers became Christians. So now if Constantine is looking like, if my soldiers are divided, my empire is going to be divided. So now Roman Constantine, Emperor Constantine, he really don't care about Christ. I just want my soldiers to be unified to defend the empire. This is the history they don't teach in church. Did you learn that in Bible History 101, Dr. Seminary? So Emperor Constantine called this council in 325 to put, look, I don't care who is right. I want y'all to agree so we can be united because the Roman Empire, I don't have a world map in here, but Rome was the first, well, Greece was the first one. Greece was the first empire to control borders way far away from home. And that was amazing. Then Rome took it further than Greece, and Rome had empires, what we call now embassies or councils. Rome had embassies around the world, but they were always under the threat of war. So Constantine had enough war sense, get my soldiers to agree so there's not division. And that's what this council of 325 came to decide. So to sum it up, if you just tuned in, what we're establishing with these resources is, despite what any Christian pastor, deacon want to tell you, no one had the Trinity as a ironclad creed until 325, 300 years after our elders were long gone. It continues on.
From the standpoint of later Catholic orthodoxy.
What orthodoxy?
Catholic orthodoxy.
So when you're telling me the Trinity is not Catholic, can you give me some witnesses? At least I'm giving you references, right? Whether you want to say, well, I don't agree with Stanford, or this was written by a man. At least I'm giving you something you can read. Can you give me something I can read that says that the Trinity is not Catholic? Can you give me anything? First of all, can you show it to me in the scriptures? Let's start there, Pastor. Show it to me in the scripture where there's a Trinity, 3 in 1. Okay. Now give me a secular source that says there's a Trinity, and Paul and Matthew and James taught that. Can you do that for me? If you can't, you're under false ideology. You're under philosophy. We don't opt.
A key episode in this series occurred in 325, when a council of bishops convened by the Emperor Constantine between 280 and 337 decreed that the Father and Son were homoousios, same substance or essence.
So this is really nonsense. This is really nonsense. So Constantine died at 337, 12 years after this decree was made. And homoousios is Greek for same substance or essence. Does that make any sense? Jasher has his 2 seeds with him in here. And they are of his same essence and substance because they came from him. So what are you saying? He's supposed to be of his father, but, somebody say but.
But
when he had to put on that flesh, you're not like the Father no more. This flesh can't dwell in that realm. So when he put on flesh, there's no way he's like the Father. But in a cultural context, this thing don't make any sense anyway. A father is a progenitor of a race.
And then he put his spirit in all of us.
Going back to Adam, Adam wasn't made with what we have. This flesh we have that's salty and hairy and dry when you don't have no lotion on. Adam didn't have this before he sinned. Adam was made in our image, in our likeness, in the substance and essence of the Father. So what are you talking about? This ain't no, you don't know the culture. The Most High told Adam, I wanted to bring all your sons out of the light, me, like I did you, but you transgressed. Now, because I love you and I have grace before Christ came, because I love you, Adam, I have grace, I'm going to clothe you with this earth suit called flesh. And now you and your wife, your rib, have to bring children out of child labor, out of birth. But Adam originally was made in the same substance and essence of the Father. So what is this Trinity talking about? They don't know our culture. Pastor, we love you, but this text ain't for you. This is a Shemitic text for Israelites. Read on out.
Arius and his party were excommunicated. The intended meaning of Uzziah,
You know it don't matter.
Here was far from clear.
They don't even understand how to use this word. Uzziah, it said that the meaning was far from clear. They didn't even know how to use the word. Anyone was here when we brought out the doctor, said that they didn't understand the Greek or the Hebrew. That doctor from Princeton, or where he's from, they're translating, not even understanding Greek words. Now we got a witness from Stanford. The true meaning of Uzziah is not even clear. Remember, I opened up, just grab a word, but this is sort of related. Your mom ever told you to be home 5 o'clock? And you came home around 5 o'clock? What she said, I didn't tell you to be home around 5 o'clock. That's what they're doing. We're picking words that sound, well, this is the best word we can find. You can't do that to the holy culture of the Israelites. You're going to be off. You're going to be off. Read on.
The intended meaning of usia was far from clear, given the terms they most likely complex history and use. So given the terms complex history and use and the failure of the council to disambiguate
The
it.
council couldn't even figure the term out. I forgot that movie. He says, I think it was Martin. I'm just using big words trying to sound smart again. They're just using words to sound smart again. I got a clip for y'all at the end. Read on.
They most likely settled on the term because it was disagreeable to the party siding with Arius.
Just because it disagrees with Arius, let's use it. Not even sure what the term really means. Read on.
This new and ambiguous formula fanned the flames of controversy as the subordinationists and anti-subordinationists understood the phrase differently when signing on to it and later argued for conflicting interpretations of it.
So this is a lot of history. I don't want to bore y'all, but this is the legwork that goes on behind the scenes that people don't understand. People want to start just making statements that they know the Bible and you don't even understand the history of the Bible. This is what you have to put your brick in to get to this level. These men just want to keep their church. Because Constantine is pretty much saying, y'all make an agreement and whoever y'all say is out is out. So now these men are just signing this statement, I agree with this creed, but I really don't understand what the creed means anyway. Do y'all understand that? I'm not sure what it means, but I want to keep my church. Because the people are donating their money and the money is coming to me, so I sign it for Constantine's sake so I don't lose my church. So I'm not excommunicated. So now you don't accept the creed. The men themselves who signed the creed didn't understand the creed. And now you in 20, what they say this is 2024? So 325, 2024, 1700 later, you understand what it means. The men who signed it and used the words didn't understand, but you went to seminary and got summa cum laude and you understand what it means in 2024. Is that what these pastors want us to believe? And you want me to come to your church, let you lay hands on me and spend all that giving to God's people behind over me? I don't think so. I don't think so. It gets worse.
325 to 381, the Arian controversy. It was only in response to the controversy sparked by the Alexandrian presbyter Arius that a critical mass of bishops rallied around what eventually became standard language about the Trinity. This controversy was complex and has been much illuminated by recent historians.
I want y'all to hold that word complex in the back of your mind to the rest of the class. Hold that word complex in the back of your mind. Read on out.
The recent historians, Arius, 2004, Freeman, 2008, Hansen, 1988, Pelican, 1971, and Rubenstein, 1999. That sounds like a fish person. Williams in 2001. It can be briefly summarized as follows. Arius taught in accordance with an earliest subordinationist theological tradition that the Son of God was a creature made by God from nothing a finite time ago.
Is there anything wrong with that statement that Arius was saying?
Son of God was a creature made.
Arius was teaching that the Son was a creature of God.
Right.
Do we have any scripture that agree with that?
Yeah.
We have scripture that agree.
Colossians, right?
Colossians 1. We have a couple scriptures that agrees that he's a son and he was created. Do you have any scripture to say he was never created? Do you have any witness to say that he was around when the Most High was? More importantly, if he's saying he has a father, that means he has a source of origin. So at least we're giving you text. Specifically, we're giving you scriptures that agree that Christ was created. You're just giving me a bunch of gum flapping that know he's been around since the Father. Well, Dr. Seminary King Judah, mighty online gurus, or whatever you want to be, show me the text that he everlasting. Show me the text that he wasn't created. Give me something I can read. So this Arius wasn't really off. We will be considered Arians because we're believing the text that Paul and them wrote. He's the firstborn. He's the first begotten. You want your seminary degree to beguile me or what begotten means, man? Begotten means he was begotten. So Arian wasn't really off with this. Read on.
Sometime around 318 to 321, a controversy broke out with Arius' teaching opposed initially by his bishop Alexander of Alexandria.
So his Morad didn't agree with him. That's pretty much what's going on. These are all pagans. They don't matter to us. We're in captivity. But his pagan teacher disagrees with him.
And Alexander examined and excommunicated Arius.
Keep him out.
Numerous churchmen adhering to the subordinationist traditions about the Son rallied to Arius' side.
So subordinationist means you believe the Son is subordinate to the Father. That's what we just read. That's what we open up these witnesses. He himself said he's subject to the Father, right? That's what 1 Corinthians 15:24 on down was saying. When it's all said and done, at the end, the Son is going to be subject to the Father. So that's what they're calling subordinationist tradition, that the Son is inferior to the Father. And that's what this whole series has been about over the weeks, showing with biblical texts that the apostles and the prophets spoke that the Son is inferior to the Father. The very definition of son, means you're inferior to me. I know us boys, you start swelling up and pumping iron, just that quickly tell you something, you enough. I don't care how much weight I'll put you under. You're my son. I'm never going to let you disrespect me. My dad, I'll put you in the grave before I let you disrespect me. You are a son. That word right there alone crushes their Trinity doctrine. You don't understand the culture. We don't have.
So those who rallied to Arius' side considered subortionists, while others favoring theologies holding to the eternal existence of the Son and his, in some sense, ontological equality with the Father, join his opponents.
So the other said, man, like I'm going with the majority now because A, I don't want to lose my church, I don't want to be excommunicated. So I'm gonna join with the other side, saying that the Son ontological means essence. His essence is equal to the Father, which again we're pointing out, that's the definition of a father and son. You're coming from my loins. So if the Father is a spirit and he's speaking things from him, every product of him is going to be of his essence. This ain't nothing deep, Pastor. This is nothing deep. But when you're saying now that same essence is the Father because he's in the flesh, you don't have no witnesses for that. We can't support that doctrine that he's God in the flesh. Read on.
The dispute threatened to split the church, and a series of councils ensued, variously excommunicating and vindicating Arius and his defenders or their opponents.
Now, this issue split the church. What church did it split?
Catholic.
Has nothing to do with us. Has nothing to do with Israel or Jerusalem. Read on.
Each side successively tried to win the favor of the then current emperor.
Oh, wait a minute. Win the favor of Yah.
The current emperor.
Win the favor of Messiah.
Each side successfully tried to win the favor of the then current emperor.
What's the ask? Shall we obey God or men? Somewhere? Pull that for me, Ant. Go ahead, Al.
So they were trying to win the favor of the then current emperor, that was Constantine, trying to manipulate imperial power to crush its opposition.
I just want to win favor with Constantine. So whatever side Constantine is leaning, I'm going with that side to impress Constantine. First of all, Constantine is a Briton who's now in control of the world. He's a Briton now in control of the world. He never believed in our Messiah. He never kept the law. So this has nothing to do with Israel. And you got that for us?
Yeah, it's Acts chapter 4, verse 19, I think. Let's see, I'll start at 18, I guess, for context. So they called them and commanded them not to speak at all, nor teach in the name of Yahushua. But Peter and John answered and said to them, whether it is right in the sight of Yah to listen to you more than Yah, you judge, for we cannot but speak the things which we have seen and heard.
So these pagan church fathers are just trying to appease Emperor Constantine. Has nothing to do with Israelites, Hebrews, Shemitic people, has nothing to do with Jerusalem, neither does this Trinity doctrine. It has no place in Jerusalem. Any comments or questions before we move on? Quick question. Go ahead.
Would you say like Constantine is like the father of like the Roman Catholicism and Christianity?
That's my position, and when you tell Christians that, they're going to deny it, but they don't have no. Your whole we're reading with these resources from Stanford and Oxford. We're reading that your church fathers was just trying to appease Emperor Constantine. So what you're saying, I agree with. Constantine is the father of Christianity. The version of Christianity that they're practicing today or tomorrow, those who go to church, you're practicing the version of Christianity that Constantine stands. You're not. They think they're following the Jerusalem church, but again, the Jerusalem church kept the feast, kept the law. The Jerusalem church that James was in charge of, they didn't meet on SUN day. They met on the Sabbath day. So these Christians want to swear them down. We're following Paul. No, which Paul? Because there was another Paul who was wicked. You're following that one Paul of Semasosa, Sematosa. You're not following Paul of Tarsus. This is the history these smarty-arty Christians swear, because just like it's happening in the Israel community, people are coming to the Shabbat, shaking and moving, getting my dirt dance, sewing, eat a good meal, ain't doing no studying. So whatever that man is saying, come, Barak Yahuwah, like who are you talking about? You ain't verifying nothing. The Christians the same way. They listen to these men say, these Israelites are ignorant. They don't know the power of God. And so you get people stirring up these emotional words, and you ain't verifying nothing these pastors are saying. So it's happening on both sides of the argument. Israelites are being indoctrinated as well as Christians. So what you're saying is valid. The Christianity that they follow today is stamped, is approved by Constantine. You just had Easter on the second Sunday of April because Constantine says we're not following the Hebrews. You're meeting on SUN Day because Constantine and the whole Roman Empire were sun worshipers. Like you've been trained that long and you can't figure out why in the world we're meeting. I'm putting on my collar on SUN Day. Now I can give you some credit if they call it SON Day, but they out. It's in your face. You're dressing up with that little three-piece suit on SUN Day, and you got all this education. I'm doctor, super reverend doctor, and you can't figure out you're following sun worship. This let you know this thing is spiritual. I don't care how much he tells us we're cardinal and we're worried about cardinal things. If following the words of God is cardinal, I'm first in line. I'm cardinal. I'm wearing fringes. I'm eating lamb. I'm keeping Torah. Yeah, I'm cardinal. And we're going to see at the end who's going to get the flame, who's going to get the crown. They love throwing these words out. These Israelites, all they want is pork. All they want is fringes. But you're wearing neckties. I ain't saying about your necktie. Where your necktie come from? Where your pastor black and white collar come from? Can you show me a scripture? I can show you scripture where not only did Allah tell us to wear fringes, but his son had them on when he walked. Can you show me where his son had a necktie on? Can you show me where Paul had a collar on? This is what I'm asking these men. And they won't come my way. They won't come my way. Read on.
From the
You did?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's just there it is. From the standpoint of later Catholic Orthodoxy, a key episode in this series occurred in 325 when a council of bishops convened by the Emperor Constantine, circa 280 to 337, decreed that the father and son were homoousios, same substance or essence, Arius and his party were excommunicated. So, did we read this?
Is this
Yeah, we read this.
So they won't give you any text, and they're gonna tell you Stanford is wrong. Just because it's in a book don't mean it's right. But you can't find me no writings that a Trinity ever existed before 325. And that's 300 years after our elders have been, most of them crucified or tortured. But you can't find us no writings before 325 that this Trinity doctrine was ever practiced in Israel. This Trinity doctrine is a Catholic doctrine. I don't care if you're a Black Hebrew Israelite. I don't care if you're a Black Christian Protestant. This Trinity is Catholic. It's of Satan. It's of Satan. Let's give you the origins of it now. The source is at the bottom of the screen. It's available online for a free PDF download.
The theology of the second half of the 3rd century under the influence of Origen. By the second half of the 3rd century, theology had become a speculative and highly technical science. And under the influence of Origen, the Logos theology, as opposed to the various forms of monarchism, had become universal.
So Origen is a man, he's a pagan, and now he's running one of the schools in Alexandria. His school is now being taught it because Origen could speak when he thought he could speak and read Hebrew. So now if you can read, this is, the 3rd century is 200s, 250s. The second half is 250s. By the 250s, Origen has learned to read Hebrew, and that puts you above the other pagans who don't know Hebrew. So now they're looking at Origen as an expert on Israel. Now, Origen's school is becoming the upper echelon of the schools. And Origen is pushing the Logos theology over monarchianism. Monarchianism is you want to be ruled by monarchs, and the monarchs is pretty much like the emperors, what they say is gospel. They are God. So that's what this is talking about. Origen is bringing in Logos theology, the word, the Bible, the scriptures of the Israelites. That's what Origen is ushering in. We should be living by the scriptures, not by what the monarchs said. Read on.
Under this influence, Paul of Samosata, reviving dynamistic monarchism, modified it by combining with it elements of the Logos theology.
So now this Paul of Samosata, he's saying, okay, Origen on the scene, and Origen is gaining traction. Origen's teaching is gaining traction. So I want to appease the people. I don't want to lose the people. So I'm a blend a little bit of the monarchism, the monarchs, with the Logos. This has nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with us. Read on.
At the same time, there was in various parts of the church a continuation of the Asia Minor theological tradition.
So in various parts of the pagan Catholic Church, they still was copying off Asia Minor. Asia Minor are the 7 churches of Revelation, Ephesus, Sardis, Philadelphia, where the Israelites were, where the Jews were. So various pagan churches are still looking to see what the Hebrews are doing. They're not following the pagans. I'm following what the Israelites doing, the Jews, because obviously they know. So that's what this is saying. Read on.
Such as had found expression in Irenaeus. A representative of this theology was Methodist of Olympus.
So again, these are the champions or the church fathers. Origen, Irenaeus, and Methodius, these are the church fathers behind the scenes that today, to this day, these Christians think they're following Christ. You're following these pagan church fathers who were leaders of the Catholic Church. That's what they won't tell the people. Read on.
There is one God, the Father of the living Word. His substantive wisdom, power, and eternal image, the perfect begetter of the perfect one, the Father of the only begotten Son. There is one Lord, only one from only one, God from God, the image and likeness of the Godhead, the active word, the wisdom which comprehends the constitution of all things, and the power which produced all creation, the true Son of the true Father, invisible of invisible, and incorruptible of incorruptible, and immortal of immortal, and everlasting of everlasting.
It sounds super deep, but this is paganism. The first paragraph, he's given an ode, he thinks, to Abba. There is one God, the Father of the living Word. His substantive wisdom, power, eternal image, the perfect begetter of the perfect one. If someone is a begetter, he's the progenitor, he's the father. So the father of the only begotten Son. If he's the father of the only begotten Son, the Son has an origin, he has a start point. There's no way you can twist it because you're coming out of a Moody seminary and tell me, yeah, but they're one and the same. How, Sway? He's the begetter of the perfect Son. The second paragraph, he's giving an ode to who we call Yahweh Shai. There is one Lord, only one from one, God from God. And it's not technically wrong if you look at it in the Hebraic sense, because Psalms 82:6, is it? Didn't I say that ye are gods?
So far, he's
Double check me, so because I don't want to put out bad. The Messiah called Israelites gods. So him being a power from a power is not technically wrong. They go off when they now say that he is the most high power. So saying he's a power from a power is not wrong. I'm going on record.
82:6.
Psalms 82:6. Go ahead, bring it out.
Psalms 82 and verse 6 says, I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
So if we take the Shemitic tongue, Psalms 82:6 saying, didn't I say that you are Elohims, who are powers? So saying that Christ is a God from a God is not really wrong. He is a power from a power, but y'all take it too far and says, but he's the most high power. How? How? The paragraph before you just said that God is the begetter of the perfect one. So how are you going to turn the Son into he's the perfect one too? Right? It don't make sense. Your doctrine don't make sense. So this is the forerunner. This is the precursor to your Trinity doctrine. And it's coming from men like Irenaeus, Origen, Methodus, whatever his name is. These men have nothing to do with Israel. Methodus are crazy. Like, what are these names from? This is the forerunner of your Trinity, and it's not coming from James, it's not coming from Peter, it's not coming from Paul, and it's not coming from Messiah. Where are you getting your doctrine from? Next slide.
The following confession of faith is found only in the life of Gregory Thaumaturgus, by Gregory of Nyssa or Nyssa. If its genuineness is now genuinely or generally admitted.
So all the theologians generally accept this confession of faith, the source, to be authentic. They're verifying that this confession of faith is authentic, and it's first giving credit to Gregory Thaumaturgus, or whatever his name, and it's being recorded by Gregory of Nyssa. He found it, and Gregory of Nyssa is publishing it, but the source is Gregory Thaumaturgus. Read on.
And according to legend, it is communicated to Gregory in a vision by Saint John on the request of the Blessed Virgin.
Stop. According to legend. What is a legend?
Yeah, like a passed down.
Just folklore.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to live by in Israel? 2 or 3 witnesses. This confession of faith that we're about to read is, according to legend, it was communicated to this Gregory Thaumaturgus by a vision of St. John. What's wrong with St. John? What's wrong with St. John, y'all?
Saint John is not something we would have in our,
Saints is Catholic.
yeah.
They venerated these our elders as saints, meaning they turned them into gods. So this man Gregory is about to give you a confession of faith that by legend, Saint John gave it to him in a vision.
And from the Blessed Virgin, meaning it goes back to them worshiping Mary.
Mary told him to go talk to John. So the confession of faith we're about to read, it stems from legend. Gregory Thaumaturgus had a vision by Saint John that the Virgin Mary told Saint John to go give to him. This is what we're about to read. I know it's heavy. Y'all might have to listen to the playback. This is really heavy. Read on out.
It represents the speculative tendency of Origenism and current theology after the rise of the Alexandrian school.
Alexandrian school was being run by Origen. So if you're coming from the Alexandrian school, you're under Origen's theology, his dogma. Read on.
It should be noted that it differs markedly from other confessions of faith in not employing biblical language.
So this confession of faith we're about to read, family, is going to sound very familiar to you. And what I want you to bear in mind is this confession of faith that's going to sound very familiar to you. By legend, it was given to this man by Saint John in a vision, because Mary, the Blessed Mary, told John to go give this man his vision. This is what we're about to read. I want you all to see if this sounds familiar.
A source book for ancient church history, page 246. And there is one Holy Spirit, having his existence from God and manifested by the Son, namely to men, the perfect likeness of the perfect Son, life and cause of the living, the sacred fount, sanctity, leader of sanctification, in whom is revealed God the Father, who is over all and in all, and God the Son, who is through all, a perfect Trinity.
This perfect Trinity, God being the Father, God being the Son, and then the Holy Spirit being a perfect Trinity, is the result of this Gregory Thaumaturgus having a vision sent to him by Saint John, because Saint Mary sent Saint John to give him this vision. This is the foundation of your Trinity. This is where your Trinity is coming from. A vision by this pagan that said Saint John gave it to him because Blessed Mary told Saint John to give him this vision. I'll read this again nice and slow. This is heavy. This is heavy.
A source book for ancient church history, page 246 by J. Ayer Cullen. And there, from the top, right?
Come.
And there is one Holy Spirit having his existence from God and manifested by the Son, namely to men, the perfect likeness of the perfect Son, life and cause of the living, the sacred fount, sanctity, leader of sanctification, in whom is revealed God the Father, who is over all and in all, and God the Son, who is through all, a perfect Trinity, not divided nor differing in glory and eternity and sovereignty. There is therefore nothing created or subservient in the Trinity, nor introduced as if not there before, but coming afterward. For there was never a time when the Son was lacking to the Father, nor the Spirit to the Son, but the same Trinity is ever unvarying and unchangeable.
This is a vision by this man. And this man, Gregory, says St. John gave him this vision because St. Mary sent St. John. Sainthood is pagan Catholicism, demonic. And this is the source of the Trinity. This is the source of the Trinity. This man is not an Israelite. He never met not even John the Revelator. And just to break down his poor theology here, he says, not divided nor differing in glory and eternity and sovereignty. Let's just go back to 1 Corinthians 15 again. And let's compare 1 Corinthians 15, starting at 24 on down, with this man's garbage on the screen. Go ahead, Aaron, you got it.
All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 24. Then comes the end, when he delivers the kingdom to Yah, the Father, when he puts an end to all rule and all authority and power. For he must reign till he has put all enemies under his feet.
So Christ must reign until Christ has put all enemies under his feet.
The last enemy that will be destroyed is death.
Death is going to be the last. Right now, we're scared to death. We're getting older, limbs is breaking down, gray hairs coming out your ears. We're scared to die right now. So that's going to be the last. We wasn't created to die. Death is a result of sin. So the last enemy to us is death. Read on.
Verse 27. For he has put all things under his feet. But when he says all things are put under him, it is evident that he who put all things under him is accepted.
So Abba Yah has put all things under Messiah's feet. And it's obvious to a Shemitic Israelite when he says all things that the Father himself is excluded. Read on, Abba.
Verse 28. Now when all things are made subject to him, then the Son himself will also be subject to him who put all things under him, that Yah may be all in all.
When all these spirits are subject unto him, all the spirits again is back under subjection and control. Even the Son is going to be back under it. Right now, these spirits are out of control. You got spirits and these people, all these new drugs. Spirit, you see these men, like I said, I ain't seen no melanated women yet, just knocking women out. Did y'all see on the news? These spirits are just coming, sucker punching women, fracturing teeth, jaws. These spirits from these people. So 1 Corinthians says, when it's all said and done, all spirits are going to be subjected back unto Abba, and even the Son. This man is saying a perfect Trinity, not divided nor differing in glory, eternity, or sovereignty. If he's subject under to the Father like we are, that's a difference. You pagan. Now these Christians have soaked up their doctrine in their schools, and now you think you have something. No one in Israel, none of our Israelite elders know anything about this Trinity. Anything. Any comments or questions before we move on? So let's play this clip from researchers and theologians. This is we played it before. The link there, the credit is there. Fair use. This is just our thoughts and opinions. But the link is there. UFO TV has the full documentary, and actually one of the researchers on here is his documentary on his channel. But UFO TV is where I clipped this from. But this is just another confirmation.
Years after the time of Jesus, there was no consensus as to what really was. The debate was he a man? Was he a god? Or a combination of both? This was what was decided.
I mean, that's why he apparently, if you read the history of Eusebius and others, that's why the council was called. And Christians were disagreeing with each other about the nature of Christ, which tells you, 300 years after the supposed birth of Christ, people still disagreed on who Christ was. There never was any agreement on who Christ was. Even in the New Testament, the author of Hebrews is still trying to argue where Jesus' place is in the hierarchy. If you read chapter 1 of Hebrews, he seems to explain to his audience that Jesus is somewhere above angels and below God. So if you have to explain that, I mean, it wasn't very clear.
And that's where the Trinity got done. That Jesus was part man and part God, but he was also part of the Trinity. God the Father, God the Son, which is Jesus, and then God the Holy Spirit, or we used to call it God the Holy Ghost. But once you've got the Son as well as the Father, then you get open the door to the Trinity. I don't think before then the Trinity had been considered a person, but for some reason it got thrown into the deal too, and so you have Father, Son, and Spirit. But that's what enabled it to happen. This kind of, I think, sleight of hand trick, by which you say, well, all right, they're two different persons, but they share a common nature. And that doesn't really work, in my humble opinion. This was one of the cutest contrivances they ever bestowed on mankind. I mean, when I was in the first grade, 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. With Christianity, 1 + 1 + 1 = 1.
They refined the doctrine of the Trinity. How can you be both God and man and still end up as 1/3 of God? That's complicated.
This was invented in order to preserve the whole notion of monotheism, one God. So how can you have God, God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, and have one God? Well, they just changed the definition of words and ran with it. That's what's believed today. People believe it.
It is interesting that in the 1500s, when Martin Luther proclaimed.
So these are, I'm nobody. I'm not educated. I don't speak fancy. I don't talk to impress people. But these are doctors, theologians. They have some of these men have several different degrees in different disciplines. And they're saying the same thing that I was revealing to us. He never gave us a Trinity. The language that they're using, they're making up these new terms, and because it's coming from your schools, it's being stamped, but it's nowhere in the text that we can read. So everything these pagans are saying, these learned pagans, the Most High is revealing to us in His Word. There's one thing I did forget to put in here. Let me do this real quick, because I was like, this is madness. This is madness. Let me add this one slide real quick. Hopefully this. And then we're going to just introduce this false doctrine that I've been teaching, and we're out of here. So the Gemara, I was glad you can make it in with the people. All right, I'm about to add this clip that I forgot. And this is just going to be this is going to be the capstone of this Trinity doctrine. I can bring that down to do it. I'm gonna add this one last clip from the same source, and it's gonna blow your mind. It blew my mind. And you need some groceries or something, brother? I'm good.
You know, the Jordan left him stacked.
All right, so let me get another screen share and just listen to this, and then. So let's listen to this clip. It's gonna blow your mind. Well, maybe not. But also smart people. All right. This is the same source. I just last minute I didn't cite this source. Same source, UFO TV, Christian Dilemma, and again, this is just fair use. Our thoughts and opinions on this clip.
The great early Christian scholar Eusebius stated early Christian frauds, deceptions, and forgeries should be revered by church historians.
Show on your face, huh?
Nothing can impose better on the people than verbiage. The least they understand, the more they admire. St. Gregory.
By order of the emperor, the Holy Gospels being written by a literate evangelist were centered and corrected.
Bishop of Constantinople, great is the force of deceit, provided it is not excited by a treacherous intention. In other words, as long as your intentions are honorable, deceit is not only good, it is great.
Y'all want to hear that again?
Wow.
Y'all want to hear that again?
I don't. But they probably need to.
When I heard this, now for those who don't know, and plus this is for the Facebook audience, YouTube audience, Eusebius of Caesarea, he became Constantine's in-house expert. So Constantine looked at him like, you understand the writing, you can read Hebrew, so you're going to be the expert, Eusebius. And that's the first name they mention is Eusebius. I have his PDFs. Eusebius' writings are available online. He has a whole volume of church history. So the pagans and the Christians been looking to Eusebius as the authoritative voice on the Israelite history. And whatever you say is going to go for the Catholic Church. What's what he said about Eusebius? And maybe I don't understand his definition, so maybe y'all can help me out.
The great early Christian scholar Eusebius stated early Christian frauds, deceptions, and forgeries should be revered by church historians.
Eusebius said early Christian fraud, deceptions, and forgeries should be revered by church historians or historians. So what does the word revered means?
Reverenced.
Like good reverend doctor?
Respected.
Yeah.
You're champion of church history. You think you know about Paul and their writings because everything Eusebius left. Eusebius was the main one that formulated the Trinity Nicene Creed. Eusebius was Empress Constantine's right-hand man. Eusebius actually wrote up the creed. And now we're reading from objective researchers here that Eusebius believed that Christian fraud, deceptions, forgeries should be respected by church historians. That's why those of you who've been around for a minute, I've been telling you, it's good to get these resources, but if you don't know the ancient Hebrew and vet these sources, Eusebius, why are you writing all these things? You're not an Israelite, because when I read these records, it said that the house of David will be rebuilt again. Eusebius, are you of the house of David? So why are you spending all your time and money translating Hebrew scrolls when you're not of the house of David? And now Eusebius, if you're not of the house of David, I got to side-eye everything you're writing. Do y'all understand the heaviness of this? The church and these seminary schools, they read Eusebius like he's Jesus. Eusebius' church history is online. You can download his volumes and volumes. He claims to be an eyewitness of everything in the 3rd century, because Eusebius was born in 280, 290. So Eusebius, you didn't even meet the apostles. You don't know the apostles. And now you believe frauds, deceptions, and even the forgeries should be respected by church histories. So maybe when you're reading Romans and the Gentiles, Maybe Paul didn't write in the Gentiles. Maybe Paul didn't write in the Gentiles. What Gentiles want to hear Paul talk about, and all Israel shall be saved? Paul, I'm not Israel. Why you say to me in this letter, Paul, all Israel should be saved, and I'm a Roman? Am I making sense? Talk back to me, y'all. Let's play some more. One more time. We want
Quote, nothing can impose better on the people than verbiage. The least they understand, the more they admire.
the least they understand, the more they admire. One of my favorite preachers been on what's that show, babe? Real Preachers of Hollywood or something. He's on that show. Noel Jones. You ever heard of Noel Jones? Noel Jones loves vocabulary. And that just means my character. So you get these professors, you're in school now, your professor got that weird little square cap on his gown. Like, man, this guy must be full of wisdom. Now they're using a bunch of Greek words, you're captivated. Remember I said put that word complex in your back of your mind earlier? They said this Trinity word was formulated with usia, whatever. And it says the meaning was truly complex. The least they understand, the more they admire. That was deep. That was deep. Pastor was deep. What he said, I don't know. How many times, man, we had church in here. What did Pastor talk about? I don't care what Pastor. We had a good time though. The more you can't understand, the more they want it.
Verbiage, it made me think about how they write all of these things down. So like we are impressed or we believe it if it's written in a book or a bill or a law, and they use that to deceive us. It's just so wicked.
Y'all are very wordy with your paragraphs. Like when I was reading some of these books, I'm like, I gotta read these sentences. Like I feel like I can't read. Like good gracious, like you put 50 words in a sentence. Back in the day, you run on, your teacher like run on. A 50-word sentence. You're like, what the world is? So Messiah was simple. Messiah used agricultural examples. He used a marriage example. Something simple for the people that it was cultural context he was giving them. Now you get these Greeks, the more fancy words I use, homoouso, same essence, same substance, consubstantial. What's consubstantial mean?
Two cups of the same water.
I said, man, I'm Pastor Smart. You Pastor dumb as bricks.
By order of the Emperor, the Holy Gospels being written by a literate evangelist was sent out and collected.
Bishop of Constantinople, great is the force of deceit, provided it is not excited by a treacherous intention. In other words, as long as your intentions are honorable, deceit is not only good, it is great.
This is the capstone on Jesus Christ, our King. We call him Yahushua. He's not the great I am. He's not the Most High. And this doctrine that he is, he's of the same essence, and he came in the flesh. It's been given to us by pagans 200-300 years after all our elders were gone. If you're teaching Jesus Christ is also God in the flesh, it's satanic. You have been deceived. I pray that you pray, fast, and repent, and the Most High reveals it to you. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Con, I got a comment for a scripture that I want you to go to, because it just goes exactly with everything you just brought out, and it just shows like this was created, these handhelds and these texts that we can carry around from Constantine, right?
Nah.
So now
I was gonna put that in there, but I was like, y'all get tired.
So now, like, even it's just helping me see that, especially KJV, right? Like he was one of the ones.
Well, KJV is 1,500 years later, because the first Bible, what Shemaiah is bringing out, I don't want to talk over people's heads. The point Shemaiah is bringing out, now you make me feel bad. I should put it in here. when Paul and the apostles were living, there was no portable book that you just can pick up and put in your pocket or under your arm. Remember, Paul said, I'm paraphrasing, he's telling Timothy, and when you come, bring those parchments with you. There were scrolls or different materials they would write on. So the first binded book that had a spine and pages that you can flip through was created by the order of Constantine. He paid for 50 Bibles to be translated, and Eusebius was in charge of the translations. So the first Bibles you got that were portable, that you could actually carry with you, came from Emperor Constantine, and Eusebius was the head translator. That's what he's bringing out.
So then what I want to correct or say about like the KJV, when this was written, the collective group think was still based off of what was established from the Council of Nicaea and Constantine, etc. Right? Now I'm seeing like how they just add stuff in, and you just really have to pray fast, study to see these things. So if we go to 1 John in the New Testament, 1 John chapter 3, this had came across my timeline, I think, and I just looked through it, and then I ended up showing Naraya, and I ended up talking to Zaquan Myron, because I was telling them how, for me, when I look at it, and these come from Hebrews, of course, the Christians, but even the Hebrews or people who know they're Israelites, and I say, for me, I'm just looking at them as like grace and mercy, because all the things you just brought out shows like we're lost, like we're in the captivity, and they're purposely deceiving us. And then there's things just written in here that kind of would like support or seemingly support their original like brainwashing, for the lack of a better word. And it's just sad, like, because it takes the Most High to be able to like snap you out of it. So like 1 Corinthians, you have a different translation in KJV, right? Okay, well that's fine. I can turn to it.
You said 1 John.
1 John chapter 3, verse 16, just to hit it and just go straight to it and not belabor the point. It says, hereby perceive we know the love of God, because he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. So to make it simple for y'all, the people are using this to say, hereby we perceive the love of God, because he, God, the Father, laid down his life for us. So when I saw that, I'm like, and they're saying that this means that Jesus is God, because we know that Jesus laid down his life for us. So me, just the way that the eyes have been opened, the ears have been opened to certain extents. We don't know it all. We don't know everything. I'm like, well, this can't be saying what it's saying. For one, of God seems to be italicized.
In my text, it is.
So I'm like, okay, so that's already like square one. Like I'm questioning that. And then I'm thinking, I told Zaquan Myron that one of the reasons why I tell people to read the Bible from the beginning is because there's hopefully, when you read it with understanding, there's going to be things that you hold on to that you know cannot change. For example, now that we're in the awakening or the covenant, we know that if the Most High told us that pork, we shouldn't eat it, it's not nothing in the text. Nothing later that you read should be different than what was originally established, right? So it's got to be something firm that we hold on to so you don't get swooped up. In this case, one of the things that I will hold on to is from Revelation, and just in general, the Most High can't die. Right? You see what I'm saying? So that's like the firm thing that I'm like, on to like a rock is like, well, it's saying that God laid down his life. Then my question would be, well, when he laid down his life, who was on the throne? That's another like strike, like something's wicked or off, or the understanding is just wrong. But blatantly as it is, and you already believe in the Trinity or the Son and the Father is the same, and then y'all know that Jesus was an idol in our hearts. So now you think we're speaking against Jesus. Texts like this just don't help. They pretty much pour like gasoline on the fire to people's understanding. So now, knowing that, I said, well, what I do when I don't know for sure, I know that these texts like KJV, you kind of got to marry them all in comparative text, use comparative text, so that way you could try to get a better idea of what the text is actually saying. It doesn't work 100%, but it does help, a lot of times. So if we take that same verse, first I asked Nariah about it, and the way he said, just to kind of give it away, he said that first we perceive the love of Yahweh because Yahweh Shai laid down his life for us. That's what he said. His interpretation would have been just off the strength of hearing it the first time. So then going to the ESV version, right? Just reading the same scripture. It says, by this we know love, that he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers. It doesn't even say of God, to trip up the person who may be confused. Now, Nariah said specifically Christ. And I told him, I said, well, now turn to the Good News translation. It says, this is how we know what love is. Christ gave his life for us. We too then ought to give lives for our brothers. Now, I said, Nariah, you was right off the rip because of, we've already been studying. We figure like this can't be saying what they think it's saying. But even when you use comparative text, other texts hit spot on. And then today, this morning, or either this morning or last night, I was scrolling through the Bible Hub just to see. And if you use witnesses, or like if we was in court, a majority of the other scriptures say it like this versus the KJV. And that's why I was like, what you was bringing out today, it seemed like when they wrote the KJV, it was still under heavy influence of that Constantine type doctrine that they established. Because like, it's no reason. What reason would you add of God in there to try to trip up the people, if that makes sense? And the last comment is that if you took the passage in full context, it's talking about brotherly love. And that's why it makes sense that it's saying that Christ, one of our brothers,
he called us his brothers in John 20:17.
Exactly, meaning he's not our father, but because he was our brother and he loved us, he gave his life as a brother for the nation. And that's how we ought to treat our brothers. That's all it's saying. So just the stuff that Marab brings out, I told Myron, anything that anybody brings out, I sit on it, and these little small things marinate, and then they come out right when you need it. Because if somebody asks y'all like, hey, well, Jesus and the Father is the same, and they take you here, now you'll know like, well, let's use comparative text or use the full context of what it's talking about.
John, a lot of these, I don't deal with the other, I just don't have the time because I want to reach the Christians where they're at. So my life mission, as the Most High spares my life, I want to dissect the KJV to show them how that's wrong. Like us in here, like first thing he pointed out, that verse of God is italicized. That's your clearly, they're trying to be noble and let you know that this was added. So if it was added, do you have the original? And now that's what I'm going to bring it out again. But since we're here, Shamoya brought this out. The version of the New Testament that you're reading in the KJV that they use, it was produced by a man named Erasmus. Erasmus was a humanist. So if you don't know what a humanist is, look that up. He's not an Israelite. He's about mankind, human. That's where you get that he died for mankind, but there's no verse that said he died for mankind. Because Erasmus was a humanist, and he still was under the subjection of the Catholic Church. So this version that's in the KJV of the New Testament, To this day, they're using Erasmus copy that he made in the 1600s. And Erasmus was under pressure by the Catholic Church to keep the Trinity in. That 1 John 5:7, there's three that bears witness in heaven. Erasmus put that in there under pressure of the Catholic Church. So this verse you just brought out in 1 John 3:16, that's Erasmus under the pressure of the Catholic Church to point that God, that confusion.
Right.
And there's no witnesses that God died. You know, if he died, who raised him from the dead? So this is the level we're going to try to help people. And everyone, I'm to the point now, Israelites, I had a couple of brothers who were Israelites, and they're well studied, but they don't know the language. And then when you're telling me, I'm gonna show you how Hamashiach is the Most High, bro, me and you have nothing to talk about. You can't show me how he's the Most High. No matter what text you think you want to show me, I know that you have a lack of understanding. You don't know the culture. Your definition of a son is lacking if you think you're going to show me that Christ is the Most High. It's just backwards. It's just backwards. Yeah, that's the level we're going to. Some of these other Bible societies are doing good work, trying to correct the mistakes of Erasmus and these other pagan men who did these adorations. And I believe ESV is one of those books. They're doing a noble thing, put corrections back in there. I believe ESV is one of those books. Last thing I want to share with y'all, and we're going to wrap up. I'm just going to intro this today. I don't know when the next time I'm going to be back up here before you. If Most High spares my life, I will give you a full course meal. But it was a conversation going on last week. And I loved it, and it just had my wheels turning. And it's about the 400-year prophecy. The 400-year prophecy. So, and go to Genesis 15 and 13. And Shamar, you gotta go to Acts 7. And as they're getting this, let me get the image on the screen. So y'all willing, next time I'm before you, if it be his will, I'll go into the full class and present my witnesses. And I'm not here to convince you. We are a community of Israelites who believe in the Most High Yah, and we confess that his only begotten son, Yahushua, has spilt his blood for us. He's resurrected, and his blood is redeeming, restoring, refreshing us. We don't hold to the Trinity. We don't believe anyone has the same position as Yah. And that's what we stand on. Other than that, you know, we don't have to all agree the same principles in here. And anything I present that you don't feel that is convincing or the witnesses are not solid, don't feel pressure. You don't have to accept it. We're not a cult here. We're not a cult here. But from this day forward, I'm going publicly, and I'm going to go on public record. I do not teach, support, or believe in the 400 years of slavery. I do not teach, believe, or support the 400 years of slavery. And the conversation that y'all had last week, all praises to the Most High for sending Bereans. And Zaquan Marion says something that just penetrated. And I was like, man, that's a powerful statement. And you know me, I'm like a dog on a bone because I don't want to be teaching false doctrine on purpose. So me teaching that we was commanded to be 400 years of captivity, that was false doctrine. And I was teaching it, and I didn't do it on purpose. I'm never going to give you all poor doctrine or false doctrine on purpose. And as soon as I have enough witnesses that it was false doctrine, I'm going to immediately let y'all know. Like I did with the sisters with the head coverings. Me and my wife almost divorced over head coverings for her rebellious behind. But when I got the understanding that, wow, these head coverings are coming from the Talmud and not us, I had to come that day. I said, no, I can't. I had a whole different class lined up, and I was so convicted. I said, no, I got to apologize to the community, especially my wife, now that those head coverings are not our culture. It's our culture to wear diadems, but it's not a commandment that a sister have her head covered. And Shamaria was a part of that. His witnesses, he brought out about our style. And as I'm verifying Shamaria notes, I'm starting to see the stuff about the sisters. Like, they wear diadems. They don't wear a fully covered head. So when I'm convicted that I've been teaching false doctrine, my first opportunity to come before y'all is to correct that. And I didn't do this on purpose. It was my understanding. As my understanding increased and the Most High imparts to me knowledge, I'm going to share with y'all. Like I told a brother earlier this week, I have no desire to be Lord over no one and I ain't teaching all my tricks. I ain't got no tricks. Whatever the Most High reveal, now I'm not going to do it sloppily where you're not ready for it. So if there's something revealed to me that I feel the community is not ready for, as a teacher, I have to be responsible and wait. But if it's something that I feel that we mature enough to understand and handle, I'm going to correct it. So again, I don't believe that the Most High ordered us to be in slavery for 400 years. I believe that's false doctrine coming from Christian dogma. The reason why the Christians wanted to be 400 years of slavery, because they can twist it and say that everything that's been owed to the Israelites has been fulfilled. And that can help them with replacement. So if they can show that the 400 years was fulfilled in Egypt, then they could say that y'all have nothing to look forward for. Everything's been fulfilled. Now it's everything under Christ, and it's false doctrine. So let me just intro this today, and I will next time I'm before you, y'all willing, I give you the full witnesses. But Ant, if you will, read Genesis 15 and 13 for me.
Shema.
Read.
Genesis chapter 15, verse 13. Then he said to Abram, know certainly that your descendants will be strangers in a land that is not theirs, and will serve them, and they will afflict them 400 years. And also the nation whom they serve I will judge afterward. They shall come out with great possessions.
So Genesis 15 and 13 is where the doctrine comes from, that we were, Mosiah promised to put us in slavery for 400 years. And then that Egypt experience seemed to confirm that. And Christian theologians, and now many of us, were under the impression that it was fulfilled and by Genesis. So just today, what I want to share with you, for those who do still hold to the 400 years of slavery, if you still hold to that, I just want to show you how, don't let them tell you that it was fulfilled in Genesis. And the reason why it wasn't fulfilled in Genesis, because Ant just read, according to the text, in the condition we have it, according to the KJV, it says that know of a certainty your seed shall be a stranger in a land not theirs, and the people shall afflict them. How many years, y'all? How many years? Come on, go at the club. How many years? 400. According to this text, it says that your people shall be afflicted for 400 years, right? Now, Shemoyah, take us to Acts 7, and for context, start up a little bit, like 38, 39 maybe. I'm going to show you why this 400 years, if the 400 years is true, it can't be Egypt. It can't be Egypt. No way it could be Egypt.
Yeah, you said,
well, this is what I had a conversation with Myron about yesterday. My statement was just that I said, if we was in court, it will only be substantial evidence that this is the 400 years, even though that's what I believe. But I said, I feel like we can produce witnesses that show that ancient Egypt didn't fulfill it.
Yeah, that's what I want. For those who are still holding to it, I want to give them some for today. I'm going to give them some witnesses that if the 400 years of slavery or servitude is true, the Christian dogma that it was fulfilled in Egypt is false. It can't be. And Acts 7 brings it out.
So 30, you can say, you can do 34.
Right.
I have seen.
32 then.
All right.
No, 31.
31. Acts 7 and 31. When Mashah saw it, he wondered at the sight, and as he drew near to behold it, the voice of the Lord came unto him.
So this is Acts 7:31, and it's referring to the burning bush that Moses or Moshe saw when he had ran away from Egypt. He ran over, y'all remember the story. He killed that man, that Egyptian, and his brothers were like, well, you know, who are you? Blah, 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 blah. And Moses feared for his life, so he ran away from Egypt, and he was with his father-in-law in Midian for about 40 years. So Moses was pretty much hiding from Pharaoh for 40 years, and then the Most High appears to him in the burning bush. That's what Stephen right now is repeating to this generation. Read on.
Verse 32, saying, I am the God of your fathers, or the Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob. Then Moses trembled and durst not behold.
Moses was kind of scared of the voice in the burning bush.
Then said the Lord, or Adonai, to him, put off your shoes from your feet, for the place where you standest is holy ground. I have seen the affliction of my people which is in Egypt, and I have heard their groaning, and am come down to deliver them.
So the Most High is appearing to Moses in the form of a burning bush, saying, I heard my people's groanings in Egypt, and now I'm about to come down and deliver them. But we know he's not coming down physically. He's sending his power, and he's going to rain down and deliver his people. But the Christian dogma try to twist this and make it seem like this is fulfilling Genesis 15 and 13, the 400 years. And it's not. It's not. There's no way it's not. Read on.
And it says that this Moses, whom they refused, saying, who made thee a ruler and a judge? The same did Elohim send to be a ruler and a deliverer by the hand of the messenger, or the angel, the Malach, which appeared to him in the bush. He brought them out. After that, he showed wonders and signs in the land of Egypt, and in the Red Sea, and in the wilderness 40 years. And this, verse 37, this is that Moses, Mashah, that which said unto the children of Yashar'Allah, a prophet shall Adonai your Elohim, or Yahweh your Elohim, raise up unto you of your brethren, like unto me, him shall ye hear. This is he that was in the church, or the congregation in the wilderness, with the Malach, which spake unto him in Mount Sinai, and with our fathers, who received the lively oracles to give unto us.
So this is the whole backstory, and this is how they try to gloss over, or they try to sneak in that replacement theology that everything promised to the Israelites has been fulfilled, and now the New Testament is not about the Israelites anymore, it's about the believers in Christ. But the 400 years, if the 400 years be true, there's no way it can be fulfilled by the Egypt servitude. And my witness for this, now that we got the whole history, let's go back to Acts 7 and 15. I just wanted y'all to get the story. I know y'all ain't been in Sunday school in a long time, so y'all refreshed with the story about how we went down to Egypt and the Most High delivered us, right? Now, Shamaria, let's back up and let's prove that the 400 years of servitude or affliction can't be Egypt. Acts 7 and 15.
It says, so Jacob went down into Egypt, and died he and our fathers.
All the 12 patriarchs. So Jacob and his 12 boys, they all died in Egypt.
And were carried over into Shechem.
Shechem, that's what you Shechem.
Into Shechem, and laid in the sepulchre that Abraham brought for a sum of money of the sons of Immer, the father of Shechem. But when the time of the promise drew nigh, which Elohim had sworn, or Yahweh had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt. Till another king arose, which knew not Joseph.
Another king rose up who knew not Joseph. Now, this makes no sense to anyone who knows the history. How in the world can the children of Israel be in Egypt for 400 years and you don't know about Joseph? That makes no sense. Makes no sense. This Pharaoh is not a native born of Egypt. He's an Assyrian king who's conquered Egypt. And to know, he still knows of Joseph because Joseph's fame went out through the whole world that was at the time. Joseph saved the world with his gift from the Most High. So to know not Joseph don't mean that he don't know who Joseph is. This Assyrian Pharaoh is not familiar with Joseph. He has no ties to Joseph. This is the cultural context they don't give you inside the church. So keep going. I'm going to show you how this 400 years of servitude can no way be Egypt.
It says the same dwelt subtly with our kindred, and evil entreated our fathers, so that they cast out their young children to end they might not live.
This new Pharaoh who don't have no ties, he don't have no bond, no relationship, no feelings towards Joseph, he's starting to treat the Israelites bad. He's starting to treat the Israelites bad, and now he's saying, kill their children. Read on.
In which time Moses was born and was exceeding fair and nourished up in his father's house for 3 months.
So in which time Moses was born? Moses was born during the time that this Pharaoh rose up to start afflicting us. So I just want to roll this out nice and slowly. Again, I don't believe in the 400-year prophecy of slavery, but if you do, don't let the unlearned beguile you to say it was Egypt, because it was not. If you hold that text at face value, that it's saying 400 years of affliction, it says the affliction started when?
By the time when Moses was born.
When Moses was born. Anybody remember the age Moses was when he died?
120.
Do y'all need witnesses? It's in Deuteronomy, last chapter. It tells you. Let's go ahead and just pull it out. Moses died being 120 years old. So if Acts 7 and 21, 19 through 20 is telling you the affliction started during Moses' time, it's nowhere near 400 years of affliction. So those who are telling you that, oh, it was fulfilled in Egypt, and no, it was not fulfilled in Egypt. Again, I know, just be patient with me. I don't believe the 400 years were ever prophesied. I believe it's another case of they don't understand our culture. I'm going to produce my witnesses next time I'm before you. But for those who still hold to it, don't let these so-called smarty-arty Christians tell you it was Egypt, because they take you to Acts. Acts has been Christianized. I'm telling you, the version of Acts or the version of the New Testament you're reading is from a Dutch man named Erasmus, who couldn't even speak Hebrew, who couldn't read Hebrew, but he knew Greek. So Erasmus has nothing to do with Israel. You got it?
It says Deuteronomy 34 and verse 7. And Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated.
Moses wasn't sickly, he wasn't decrepit, he didn't have heart murmurs from dealing with children of Israel. Moses was a fool, ready to go to war. I would just say, well done, my good and faithful servant. Man, that's all I want to hear. The man wasn't sickly or on a cane and pick up my colostomy bag or whatever they call it. Moses was full of strength and vigor. I would just say, son, you did enough. Well done, come on home. And he was 120. So according to the text, Genesis 15:13 says that your people are going to be afflicted 400 years.
Also, too, if you said that the affliction ended, that he would have been 80 when they came out from Egypt. And then if you just subtract 80
from, you got to go to how the covenant was 430 years from Abraham to Egypt, then subtract that 80 when Moses brought them out, and you from half of that. So it says in Jubilees, I think, or Jasher, that they was in Egypt Egypt for about 200 years, 210.
I got all of it ready. It just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was trying to rush the notes together for today, because I was going to give y'all a 2-for-1, because I don't know when next time I was going to be up here. It was like, we don't even need all of that.
You don't.
If the prophecy, so-called prophecy, says y'all gonna be afflicted 400 years, and then we got Stephen saying the affliction didn't start until Moses was born. Moses died at 120. So 400 minus 120 is what? 380. You're 380 years short. Do the Most High talking them prophetic terms like your TV pastors? Y'all gonna be in slavery about 400 years. Oh, cut it short. That's how Most High get prophecy. When Most High say 400, it's 400. So if the affliction didn't start to Moses' generation, you're 380 years short, right?
Is it one? It's
Oh, no, it's
280.
280.
Okay, well, I know math, so I never cleared this math. So you're 280 short.
Yeah.
Does the Most High prophesy in generic terms like that?
No.
Now, the flip side of that, what made me change my position is our Father does not prophesy like these TV evangelists. When he say 400, it's to the T. It's not 406 months. It's not 401. It's 400. And what Marianne said last week, it was like, even 1619 is past 400 now. Even though I know where I was going to go with it, I'm like, well, I have the luxury of knowing that the Roman calendar is off. The emperors used to subtract years to make their reign longer than the other emperors. I have that. But I'm like, even with that, knowing that, there's no way that the Most High's prophecy, right now, we're like 5 years over. So I'm like, what's going on here? So I got witnesses lined up, and I want to take my time when y'all fresh to lay out why I don't believe he ever said 400 years of affliction. But I just wanted to give y'all that introduction. It definitely wasn't Egypt if it was 400 years. It definitely wasn't Egypt. Any comments or questions about that so far?
No, I mean that's a long deep. So I would rather, like you said, it's better to just
come back.
Everybody be fresh. Because then it's a whole lot. Like even with the whole stuff about the generations and things like that, it's just a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to lay my witnesses out, and I'm not trying to turn anyone's position. I'm just trying to explain to you why I no longer believe it was 400 years prophesied of servitude.
I think it's something to do with the language too, not saying about the 400 or anything, but it's like that would be the angle I'll be interested to see from you, because me and Araya was looking at 4th generation, and if less the Most High was being exact, because I told Zaquan that I agreed that I would take a generation as like him and then his son would be next, or daughter and then son, however you want to do it. And even if we do that, it didn't fulfill, because Moses, I counted last night, he would have been the 6th generation, and even they died. They didn't even make it. So we already at 6. And I said that it's gotta be, if it's something with the language that we don't understand, because 4th generation, this is just commentary. It's either meaning latter times, is his 4th tribe, or all the children after the 12 count as the 4th generation. Those are the 3 things I'm working on, just commentary, because it's no way that it's exact 1, 2, 3, 4, when even if we say Moses brought them out, he was 6, because it's Levi had a son, and then they had Amram, and Amram had Moses. So we already passed 4th generation. So I like, man, this thing is very, very complicated. And I said, that's why I don't take no if someone believed that or said what they said. I have grace and mercy, because none of us is right. we all reading the wrong
It's
text
bad.
and we don't know what's going on.
It's bad. Like I said, I'm not running around here trying to chase down Hebrews and telling me. I see so much false doctrine on my timeline. I just ignore it. I had to tell one of the brothers who we familiar. I just had to tell them, like, man, me and you have nothing to talk about. Like, you don't know the language. I see you using Elohim and Yahuwah. You don't even know what's going on. So there's no point of me wasting my time with you. And I'm not trying to be mean to these brothers, but like, I gotta. It comes to a point where I gotta draw a line in the sand. Bro, I love you. I'm glad you're trying to keep the law, but the terms you're using and now your doctrine, you're way off. You don't know the culture. I just can't waste my time with you, especially when you come up with that, oh, let me cut these false teachers. You're not even coming in the spirit of let me help my brother. You're coming in the spirit of let me debate. I don't got time for that, bro. I don't got time for that. I see you out. I see you out.
The time of the Amorites be fulfilled. Wasn't that fulfilled by Joshua?
I haven't had enough witnesses. That was another caveat to it. And I was trying to research who definitely those Amorites were. And right now, as we speak, I don't have enough witnesses to concrete witnesses when that happened. So, and then, I'm going to respond to that now, but we're not going to get into it. You have to think like a Shemitic person, like Abba. Abba is speaking to Shemitic people. So when the times of the Amorites be fulfilled, that could be their generation right now. There could be Amorites over there right now. You just don't know. You don't know. Chef, that's you out. That Chef? Shapa, Baya Shapa.
Oh no, that's me.
Oh, come.
Yeah, I was talking to Shamaria yesterday as far as the fourth generation and things like that or whatever. But when you read in Judge, it's not that the fourth generation, it's not that generation didn't make it in at all. But when you read, I think it's in I want to say, I think it was Joshua 5, I believe it is. Joshua 5. It just says that the fighting age men didn't make it in. So then that means that there were some of that generation that actually did cross over into the promised land. It just says fighting age men didn't make it.
20 and up, right? 20 and up.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. It's just that even then they gotta already be like 6 generations in. Did you see that part? What I was saying or hear that?
I did see that. Yeah, no, I did see that as well. But even with I think it's fighting age men 20 and up. But even when you say fighting age, like, where even with that, where does that cut off at?
Yeah, but another caveat, I didn't make the notes. I'll put it back in when we do the full class, but just since we're having a powwow about it, another stipulation of that Genesis 15:13 says they're going to be a stranger in a land not theirs. Well, Goshen, if you go back and you talked about that, Goshen was part of Abraham's promise. Goshen belongs to Abraham. So when we were in if you pull up a map of Goshen, where we were, and then pull up another image of Abraham's promise, he said from the great river Euphrates to the Nile River, Goshen is our property.
Goshen is on the other
side
of the Nile.
That's another caveat. We wasn't in land not ours, and then we wasn't afflicted those 40 years. The affliction didn't start until Moses. So already there's 2 strikes against that 40-year prophecy.
Something that we can study, everybody just can study. I saw when I was reading this week, Jeremiah, the Most High told him 2 or 3 times in Jeremiah that he was going to send them to a land that's not theirs. You're going to be strangers. So I was like, that's after they already inherited the land.
Right.
From my understanding, this is we just talking now. The promise that was fulfilled was that he was going to put the people in Canaan. That part happened.
Right.
But then he told them you was going to be strangers in a land because you serve strange gods. Now that goes back to Genesis again.
Right.
And if it's after they're already there, that was like a nugget that I'm taking, because I was thinking we all just, speculating, I guess, or trying to put the trail of breadcrumbs together. They went, the nation, that strange land they went to was Babylon, immediate was Babylon. But if you go through the history that we've seen, like Brother Benaiah and others have brought out, Dante, they've helped show the history from Babylon. Some of them stayed in Spain, and they went to Spain and Portugal over there. So from there, we know about the 1492, the transatlantic slave trade, and then they ended up over here, another strange land that nobody heard of. So I was just saying that the fact that he brought that same language up in Jeremiah, which is when they were already right. Yeah, that's
definitely those Christians, and I'm just sharing this nugget for those Christians who try to say that Egypt fulfilled that. It did. So the brothers who still hold to the 1619 14 prophecy, I don't fault them for that. This is the type of revelation only comes with seeking Abba and fasting. But when I bring out my witnesses, I hope it's clear why I don't support the 1619. So that's all I got for today. The water robot. Somebody got a message? Someone else in the chat? Zaquan, man, we hope you feeling better, man. We hope you getting. Sister Amanai said, what Jeremiah chapter was that?
One of them for sure is 5.
Jeremiah 5, Sister Amanai, Jeremiah 5. Zaquan, we hope you're feeling better. You and Sister Margaret Shah, Most High be with you all. This concludes our service for today. All praises to the great I Am for blessing us with life, understanding, and I'm just so thankful. I was listening to Daniel, and that prayer or that statement Daniel said to Nebuchadnezzar, it just rings true. Like, it's not me who interprets this. There's a power in heaven who gives his people understanding. So I thank the Most High for being faithful to his remnant. I give all praise to the Most High for the blood of Yahushua, my kinsman redeemer. I pray that you have some understanding, and Most High will be done. Those online, the water Rabbi for hanging in there. Y'all willing, give me a couple of days or so. I have this cleaned up on a YouTube channel. I know it's heavy information, but the takeaway is that Trinity, that triune, all that flavor is not of Yah, it's not of Messiah. It's a satanic doctrine that has captivated the minds of Christians and even the Israelites. So all praise to the great I Am. If all hearts and minds are clear, I ask that you stand, face Jerusalem. Ask Anthony if he can pray us out.